All right, so who here has ever been to a playground? By show of hands. And who here has been on a seesaw as a kid? Fantastic. So I'm going to ask a difficult question. If on a seesaw we have two kids, same size on either side, would it be balanced? Yes. Alternatively, if we have three kids of the same size and one kid on the other, would it be balanced? No, it would favor the side with the three kids because it's heavier. So ecosystems work in a similar way where different processes incur different pressures on the system, causing the seesaw to shift to either side depending on the pressure. So if we go back to the playground, and let's say on this same seesaw we have three kids on either side, all the same size, so a nice balanced system. But let's say that there's a bully on the playground and he's on one side of the seesaw just pushing these kids off of the seesaw. Where do you think the seesaw would sit? The side with the bully or the side without? Side without, right? Because those kids are just there and it's heavy. And so a similar situation occurs on coral reefs. So imagine on the seesaw you have corals on one side and algae on the other. And we also have herbivorous fishes in the system. So these are fish that eat algae. So they're constantly removing algae from the system, similar to the bully on the playground, causing the seesaw to shift to favor the corals, leading to a coral-dominated ecosystem. But what if there are other pressures to this ecological seesaw? Well, global temperatures are increasing at an unprecedented rate, and fish, corals, and algae are all ectotherms, meaning they're inherently dependent on temperature of the environment for their own biological processes. So things like growth, metabolism, consumption are all temperature dependent. So generally, as you increase temperature, this increases the rate of these processes until you reach a thermal threshold, after which there's rapid declines in performance and even survival. And fish, corals, and algae all have different temperature preferences and dependencies, and so will respond differently to a warmer world, and therefore incurring different pressures to each side of the ecological seesaw. Now, my PhD will focus on one side of the seesaw, the fish and algae side. So specifically, as oceans warm, are fish going to consume as fast as their food source is going to grow? So I'm going to quantify algal production and growth, and its consumption both in the field and the lab. And from the data that I generate, I hope to be able to predict how much algae is going to be on the Great Barrier Reef in the next 100 years based on ocean warming scenarios. And so by understanding the temperature dependence on one side of this ecological seesaw, we can best understand how to best manage for the other side of the ecological seesaw to help preserve our precious coral reef. Thank you.